Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps other people see this, and I would love to be monetized so that I can help more and more people. So it really means a lot to me if you do it. Please do it right now. Thank you. Let's get started. I want to talk about how the mind works. Now, a lot of people are not aware that our subconscious mind is programmed by the time we are 7. And honestly, before we're 3, let me see, I pulled this article up because I was like, I knew, but I didn't know the details of this. There was a study done by Harvard that says before we turn 3 years old, we already form over 1 million neural connections every minute. That's crazy. I mean, our minds are literally like sponges. But another thing that I'd like to point out is that our minds are in the delta state, which is the state that as adults we sleep in. So we're literally in a hypnosis state from the time we're born until we're about 7 or 8 years old. So our brain is forming all these neural connections, and they say that the neural connections are like the root of all of our beliefs and actions. And like that's all those neural connections that we form at that age, before the age of 7 or 8, is what affects the way we act for the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. So we take on the limiting beliefs of the people who raise us, of our environment, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean, people will look at that and they're like, well, I don't have the same religious beliefs as my family. Well, a lot of people do, but a lot of people will say, like, I don't believe all the same things as my parents. Okay, fair enough. Let me explain further. So a lot of our beliefs have to do with survival. A lot about money and how to accumulate money or wealth and abundance. And many people have the belief that we must work really hard to earn our money. As long as you hold that belief, you will have to work really hard to earn your money. So it doesn't really matter what the specific belief around, what you should do for a living is. Maybe your belief might be different than your parents on that, but you're going to hold the same belief around earning money and having money or not having money, being focused on that lack or focused on that abundance. And it goes either way. Like I've talked about before, people who are on welfare are often 5th generation welfare recipients because they hold those beliefs of their family and the family before that and the family before that, right? It's an ancestral belief, and we quite literally inherit that through our DNA, as well as we program it into our subconscious mind before we're even old enough to make our own decisions about what our beliefs should be about ourselves and our limitations in our lives. Now, because physical reality is entirely made up of energy, we don't actually have limits. And that sounds a little crazy, but you got to think about people who've invented things that were not previously invented. Now, energy can't be created or destroyed. So the way to invent anything that we've ever invented, and the way to invent anything that we ever will invent, is already in existence. So the limits that we have that control our reality and our current results are quite literally just the limits that we hold in our subconscious mind. There are no limits. The limit literally does not exist. But because your mind was programmed before you were even 7 years old, you hold all those beliefs that were programmed into your mind as an adult. We don't reform those neural connections unless we're literally working, with repetition constantly to consciously reprogram our subconscious mind. People don't do that. And so that's why, there are a ton of people who are from the outside very successful people, but still feeling this kind of unsatisfaction, this disappointment, this sadness. Some people have the wealth, like tons of money, but they're still sad. Other people have good relationships, but they are, financially really poor, and they don't understand why it is so hard and so much struggle and effort to accumulate more money. Why are they always working so hard and still not getting paid off for it? They say you have to earn it, but you're constantly working and efforting, and then you're not earning it. Why is that? It is because of your subconscious beliefs. Now, there's a lot of science behind this as to why we are acting the way we're acting, why we think the way we think, and why our results are the way they are. But I really like to talk about quantum physics because everything is made up of energy. And I do believe in law of attraction because the way we feel is controlled by our subconscious mind, which was programmed before we were even 7. And the way we feel determines the way that we act. And obviously, we can all agree that the way that we act determines our results in life. So the way we feel does indeed attract to us our current reality. Now, if you feel very wealthy, very abundant, very confident and successful, then you will be those things. You will act from that feeling and you will create that reality. If you are constantly worried and efforting and focused on lack, then you will act from those feelings and you will create that reality. Now, lots of people who've never studied this are like, that sounds like some crazy religion or something. But if you start to study it, you're going to find people like Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein. I mean, some of the greatest minds in the world all agree on the fact that what you believe becomes. What you believe becomes. And if you doubt that, put it to action. Start to think about what it is that you want. Think about what it is that you're thinking about. When you feel bad, what are you thinking about? What are you believing? What are you acting out of? I always tell people, use your emotions as a trigger. We have an intuition for a reason so that we can be aware of how we're feeling and what we're thinking about and what we're creating in our reality. It's so, so, so important. Now, with all of that said, I am so fascinated by human anatomy and physiology. I'm not just human, all anatomy and physiology. I love health. I love to be healthy. I love my physical body that I'm living in. And I think it's such a blessing to be here and be able to experience feeling in physical reality. But when we feel emotions, we literally feel them in our physical body. I don't think anybody can deny that. When you feel sadness, you feel it. You feel it in your chest, you feel it in your body. Depression makes you tired. When you feel emotion, you feel it in your physical body. And that's why our physical body manifests illness when we are feeling negative emotion. Now, this is something that's being studied more recently, but there's actually a ton of evidence on exactly what emotional trauma and cause of ailments and illness are coming from the, what area of our lives, our emotions, our mind into our physical body. There are many books written on this. One is Metaphysical Anatomy, and that's a book that's kind of like, I wouldn't say a dictionary, but you can look up what physical illness or ailment, and it tells you what is the cause of this. So working with life coaching, I've worked with many people through their emotional trauma to relieve their physical pain and illness. And I'm just really so fascinated by it. And I really believe that nothing is incurable if a person is willing to work through their emotional and mental trauma and, become mentally, emotionally healthy. They can heal the body, because the body is just a tool of the mind, and the subconscious mind controls how we feel. So if subconsciously we're holding on to feelings that we're not good enough, or any type of like belief in sadness or any negative emotion at all, which most of us do hold. I think most people are subconsciously programmed to believe that they have this unworthiness about them, or that there's lack of money or lack of love or whatever it may be. Many of us, most of us, hold negative beliefs in our subconscious mind. Now that manifests in the body. always, it manifests in the body. So if you're holding on to a certain trauma from childhood that was, you know, significantly impactful, that will manifest in your physical body. If you have manifested illness in your physical body, or, you know, any ailment, any disease at all, there is a way to fix it. And that is always through your emotional well-being. And some people are going to say, oh, I don't believe that. But there's so much evidence for it. There's so much evidence for it. There are so many books now written on exactly what is causing what. Everything is made up of energy. And when you think about it, when we're taking medication for things, we're treating the symptom, but we're not treating the cause. So nobody's permanently healing because we're not treating the cause. It is so important to talk about this because we can heal. We have the ability to transform energy. We know that. We know that. You can change how you feel. You can decide how you feel. You also can eat food and turn that into energy for the body to function, right? We as humans have the innate ability to transform energy. We know that. So we can indeed change how we feel. We can choose our emotions. We can reprogram our subconscious mind, and we can heal from anything. 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 And I want to work with people to heal them inside and out. And I'm not afraid to do it. And I think I've got, you know, just the right knowledge to help anybody who's suffering from any physical ailment or disease. I would be honored to work with anyone who would be open and willing and desiring to heal. So send me a message and let's talk and let's heal, because there's nothing more important than how you feel. That is your attraction point. That is what you're acting from. That is what you're attracting from in your physical reality. That controls your entire life, all of your results. So let's heal. The last thing I want to talk about is this book called Anatomy of the Spirit by a woman named Carolyn Myss. This is one of the best books I have ever read. And if you know me, I am spiritual. I'm not super religious towards one religion or another because I believe that they all had the same truths to them, and the same purpose to them. And so I think it's silly that we've had wars over different religions, because all religion says that we are all divinely, infinitely connected, and that we are meant to unconditionally love one another and honor ourselves and others, and you know, many of the same things. This book brings in, I believe, 7 different religions. It says the 7 stages of power and healing, and it talks about the different chakras. I mean, it intertwines just about everything in this book. And she also talks about specific diseases that people had manifested in their physical body, what they had manifested that from, what trauma they had manifested that from, and how they were able to cure, heal, and overcome their illness. So it's certainly worth a read. Really good, just on a spiritual level to read that book. So I don't know. I find it absolutely fascinating. I know that all science and theology backs me up when I say everything is made of energy and we can transform energy. So I think we should heal from the source, right? All right. I think it's a fascinating idea. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment, message below. Let me know if you liked it, if you want to know more about it. I would love to talk more in detail about it because I just think it's fascinating. I think that medicine will be soon changing. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!